Hey everyone, and welcome to the Americana Station podcast. It's your host, Will Payne Harrison. I'm here this week with Dan Whitaker, and I'm excited for you to hear him. Also coming up on the podcast, we've got Eric Bolander is coming out soon. We got the Rough and Tumble, and also Zach Russell. It's all great conversations I'm super excited about. We got some more coming. I want to give a shout out to my friend David Swayze Hayes, who's been listening and giving me suggestions on people to put on the show. And he even created his own playlist based off of artists that have been on the show. So shout out to David. Thanks so much for being so kind and listening and supporting Americana Station. If you want to give a shout to me, I'm on Twitter at Will P. Harrison. I'm on Instagram at Will Payne Harrison. I'm on Facebook. I don't really use it quite as often, but I believe it's facebook.com/the real Will Payne Harrison or something like that. I don't know. Just Google Will Payne Harrison and I'll come up. Yeah, so we got some good artists coming up in the next month or so. I got to talk to Rough and Tumble and about their new record. They're an incredible duo that used to live here in Nashville, but they hit the road and I think they said they're in Florida right now. And then Zach Russell, who's also here in Nashville, has a new EP coming out on February 12th. And this dude, if you haven't listened to him yet, I put him on my Americana Highways playlist for this month. It's one of his older songs, which was produced by Kyle Crownover. And the fiddle on that track is super killer. It's a great song. It's the first song on the playlist, so give that a listen. Of course, we got a Dan Whitaker tune on that playlist as well. I believe I put Rough and Tumble, and Eric Bolander has a new live session that's also on there. So there's a lot of the guys on the podcast are on my new playlist. That's the Americana Highways Backroads playlist. It is on Spotify, so make sure you check them out. Make sure you go to AmericanaHighways.org. Damn, I think it's .org. AmericanaHighways.org, and read some of the reviews. Give them a donation if you feel so inclined. They've been doing so much for the Americana music scene, and I really appreciate Melissa and all of them. And I've also written a couple articles, and I plan on writing some more. So maybe you'll see my name on a byline for your next favorite band. So yeah, let's get into it. This week we've got Dan Whitaker, and he is an incredible treasure in the Chicago music scene. So let's talk about him. Whitaker is a singer-songwriter and multi-instrumentalist who has steadfastly held on to his vision during the highs and lows of a 30-year independent music career.
You gave me what I needed most. You weren't afraid to love me.
To him, it's simple. Stay true to the song wherever it may lead.
See my years come as if they were a pipe dream.
Following up on his 2019 album Far, Far Away with honky tonk band The Shinebenders, Dan Whitaker is about to step into a solo waters for the first time in 22 years, bringing decades of his songs together in a new retrospective anthology album. To kick off his new direction, Whitaker is releasing a remastering of his 1999 solo bootleg folk album, Moving On With You. Without further ado, here's Dan Whitaker.
So long and cold, I thought my heart was frozen. You were like an April day. I guess I was just dozing.
Hey everyone, today on the podcast, I have Dan Whitaker with me. You might know him from his band, The Shinebenders, but he has a new record coming out. Did it come out today?
It did come out today, yeah.
It came out today, Moving On With You. So, Dan, you recorded this in 1999, but it's just coming out now, is that correct?
Well, yeah, I recorded it. It was kind of a bootleg do-it-yourself thing, and I guess I never properly released it, so I got it remastered. And we just figured we'd schedule a release for it to a lot of people have not heard it or not really familiar that I, do other stuff than honky tonk stuff.
How is it looking back on something that you wrote 22 years ago? Does it feel like really nostalgic? Do you see like the flaws in the music, or are you like pretty impressed with where you were 22 years ago?
It's well, yeah, no, I am. I think it was a good album, and a good batch of songs, and I was in a good place, good mental place where I could write a good batch of songs. I had some time. I was going through some issues personally, and with my music, and so yeah, like not every song I write is good, but this is a good period. And I do a lot of. I've been writing songs for a long time, and I still play songs that I wrote when I was 18. And so I guess I've always been playing old songs, new songs, kind of old songs or whatever. But yeah, this is just a nice collection, and I'm pretty happy looking back at it. And a lot of it I just recorded live. A couple of them have overdubs, but yeah, it was fun making the record, as I recall, just by myself. And I did a lot with the songs with bands later,
Yeah, and it was pretty low key, like just like mostly banjo and guitar and a couple other instruments, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 80% of it is just me playing guitar and singing, and maybe with harmonica.
Is this kind of your Nebraska?
Yeah, I guess so. I had an old 4-track laying around, the actual reel-to-reel.
Yeah.
And I did a couple of songs on that. So that's why you hear me playing a few different instruments on like Honey Baby, because that was a 4-track song.
Oh, very cool. So, yeah, you said most people know you for your honky tonk stuff, but this is a little bit more like stripped down folk music. Where do you, or I guess where did you draw your influence from for the record?
Well, I don't know if there's anything in particular that I was drawing from but I definitely have musical heroes and favorite songwriters, definitely, guys like Dylan and Joni Mitchell and Neil Young, Leonard Cohen, and those type of songwriters that I've always been inspired by for any song that I'm writing. And I think that in this case, I was just confined to like playing a guitar because I'm just by myself. And it's kind of a folky setting if you do that. So I guess that's just how it came out,
Yeah. Yeah. Do you like the restriction of it just being like mostly one instrument and voice? Is that like a challenge for you?
Yeah, it is. It is. And I mean, I've been getting back into playing acoustic guitar, and I was playing a little harmonica back then, but now I'm playing a lot of harmonica. So, I mean, I have like a Lee Oskar set of harmonicas in different keys. So I use those extensively as I change from key to key. And I find that playing solo, or maybe just playing with like a duet, like I do a lot of gigs with my bass player, where he provides the rhythm, he's slapping the bass and he's playing the bass, the bass notes. And so he's like the rhythm section, and I'm the melody section. So I'm singing, I'm playing harmonica, I'm playing guitar, and or guitar riffs and stuff. So when you just have the guitar, you're really restricted in the type of sounds and textures you can put across.
Yeah, and it definitely kind of opens up a different like style even than because I'm a big fan of folk music as well, and I try to do honky tonk music when I have a band, but it's a similar thing when I'm going solo. I tend to. It's harder to do the kind of country honky tonk thing when you're solo more often. So you got to be a little more creative with, I guess, sounding interesting. With your voice.
Mm-hmm. One good thing about playing solo, especially with your voice, that I've noticed is that, well, if you don't have to harmonize with anybody, I feel like I have more freedom, so I can kind of, well, I'm feeling this way tonight, I'm going to sing it with a slightly different melody and, kind of riff off of that melody and that kind of energy, rather than just replaying it the same way I've sung it 100 times.
Do you find lyrically that you play with it differently as well when you're doing more of a solo folk thing?
I think you definitely really need to have some, meaningful. I think maybe the lyrics need to be a little more meaningful, or you need to. I don't know. There's not a whole lot of instrumentation you can do, so I guess it's a little more geared to multi-verse song, multi-verses in one song. I don't know. I have a song on this album called "A Man in His Age," and it has, I think it has 10 verses. Those are, it probably took me 15 years just to remember all the words of that song. And I didn't want to.
That's very Dylan-esque.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that is something that's cool when you're doing folk music, is that it can be so lyrically driven and have so many verses because the lyrics are king. Not that they're not in country and honky tonk, but it's.
Yeah, they're a little more central.
Yeah. No, you said earlier we were talking, and you said that you have an online gig coming up. Can you tell me a little bit about what you're doing with your gig?
Yeah. So, I have been streaming on a Facebook page called Live from the Lost Highway. It's like a Facebook page. But in this case, I'm doing all the songs from this record in order. So all the moving on tunes, I believe it's 12 tunes. And I'll be doing those on a YouTube show, and that will be on January 16th at 8 p.m. Central. And if you're interested, you could get tickets through Eventbrite. And I also have a link on Facebook page for that if you're interested.
Very cool. Yeah, that's awesome. It's such a weird time to be, releasing and performing, because most of the gigs are online type situations. That's cool that you have one lined up for it. Is there going to be any special guests, or is it going to mostly just be you?
This one will just be me. A lot of my streams I'll do with my bass player Earl. But I wanted to do this one solo because the album is solo,
Yeah.
To kind of come full circle there and do like a modern rendition of the whole album. I thought it'd be kind of interesting for people to see,
And it's going to be you're probably going to do a lot more harmonica on it, though. Now that you.
Yeah.
Very cool. So you also, if I can remember correctly, please correct me if I'm wrong. You're putting out another record this year. Is that correct?
Correct. Yeah.
Is that with the Shinebenders?
No,
It's solo too.
That is a solo album as well. Although I have a couple of those guys on there helping me out. But I'm trying to raise some money with the Moving On With You so I can kind of finish my album that I'm working on right now. Because it's just like, I got to go in the studio again. The studio hours they rack up pretty quickly.
Yeah.
But this album is also going to be my older songs. So I played in a band called Great Plains Gypsies for a long time. And then we kind of changed our name at one point to the Gyps. So I have like 6 albums between those two of original tunes. And as well as that, I have, I played another band when I was in school here in Northern Illinois in DeKalb, a band called Junebug Massacre. And that band never really got to record. So some of the songs are from that band, some from GPG, some from the Gyps. But anyway, the new album is kind of an anthology of these older songs that people may not be familiar with as much as they are with my honky tonk stuff, right, with the Shinebenders. So I'm going to do, or I have already recorded it. I'm mixing it now, but it is they're older songs, but they're acoustic versions. So a lot of them may have been rock songs originally when I recorded them with the band. And so these are kind of more stripped down, and I'm playing a lot of different instruments on this album.
What studio did you go to, and did you self-produce it or have a producer?
I'm co-producing with my friend Todd Rittman, and it's his studio. I don't know if it even has a name. I have to ask him about that. It's not too far from where I live. It's here in Chicago on Fullerton Avenue, kind of in Logan Square-ish area.
Okay. How is the scene in Chicago? I've played a few times, mostly, what is that? It's a little acoustic place. I can't think of the name of it. And the Elbow Room. I've played at the Elbow Room a couple of times, but I haven't, spent a lot of time in Chicago. What is like the folk and the honky tonk scene like there?
Well, it's been getting better. I mean, pre-pandemic anyway, it was on quite a incline. I would say compared. I mean, I've lived in Chicago for nearly 30 years, and when I started playing country music, there was a couple of bands playing country music.
Yeah.
Now there's a lot of bands playing country music, and they're also, younger people, and it's actually, kind of hip to do this now, whereas before it was people, didn't really know how to take you. I was like, I used to play with my country band here and in the suburbs, and it was like people had never heard classic country before, and within the last 15, 20 years, now everybody knows all about classic country. They know all their favorite artists and songs, and they know, and now there's a new crop of artists that like to emulate, all these classic guys, like Willie Nelson or George Jones or Merle Haggard, Loretta Lynn, so it's pretty cool. And me and some friends of mine have a little group called Chicago Honky Tonk, and we were putting on shows. Monthly show at the Empty Bottle was a Sunday thing. Empty Bottle is very cool because there's a lot of two-steppers that show up.
Yeah. I think I saw you play there when I was in town once for one of the Chicago Honky Tonks.
Oh, great. Yeah. So, then, and that all got really going because there's a band called the Hoyle Brothers that have been playing at the Empty Bottle every Friday for a happy hour. And, they've been doing that for 16 years, and they've built up just this loyal crowd of people that like to dance or just like to go drink and listen to them, So a lot thanks to them for helping bring country around again here in Chicago.
Yeah, it was cool too because I think they were on like Sunday afternoons at like 3 or 4 in the afternoon when y'all were doing it.
The Chicago Honky Tonk matinees,
yeah, the matinees, and it was cool because everyone here in Nashville knows how to dance, and it can be a little bit intimidating to get out on the dance floor, but it definitely felt like there was a lot of people that were learning and a lot of people that didn't know, so it had a very like we're all learning this together kind of feel, which was nice and relaxing.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, a lot of towns, when I get out and play music in different towns, not every town there are dancers. So Nashville is one of them, and Austin is one of them.
Yeah.
And Chicago is one of them.
Have you made it down to like Lafayette or Louisiana, down in South Louisiana?
Not to Lafayette. I played in New O, but that's about it.
Yeah. They're definitely dancers down there too.
Mm-hmm.
So with the solo stuff though, what kind of venues? I guess it's kind of not really a time to play at venues, but what's sort of like what's the vibe with the solo kind of folk scene?
Well, I mean, this last summer I was playing. I played a few solo gigs. There's a lot of probably same in Nashville. A lot of outdoor gigs,
Yeah.
Where there's not necessarily a PA or anything. I mean, you got to bring your own gear, your own little mini speakers or board. People are just kind of, hungry for entertainment. If they can go to anything, like we're pretty locked down here in Chicago. I mean, it's cold as hell, so you really couldn't play outdoors if you wanted. But people are hungry for entertainment, and I think appreciative if it's a solo person or just a couple people trying to make a racket, to entertain them. So, I mean, I guess I don't really have like a grand scheme of in mind, but I'm just kind of taking it, week to week. And if everybody gets vaccinated and there's no more pandemic and everybody wants to, dance again, that would be great. And I could get a bigger band going, and if the club would pay me, that's half the problem. I mean, truthfully, that if you're gonna play a gig and you're only going to get $100, I'd rather split that, maybe with one other guy or not at all.
Yeah. In Nashville, that's the problem is if you get paid $100, you still got to pay each of the players $100. So, they don't,
that's not sustainable.
Yeah. It's not sustainable at all. So a lot of times, it's really special occasions that I play full band here in Nashville, unless the band's willing to play for tips, you know?
Yeah. So, I mean, I guess it is what it is, but like, you know, you got to do what you got to do to, you know, if you want to make any money as a musician, it's so, yeah. You know, the pandemic is not helping anything. That's for sure. But it is like, you know, it does help in a sense that we are more centered on what is important in our lives, you know?
Right. Have you been writing more now that you're kind of locked down and it's cold?
Yeah, I think I have been. I mean, I'm always writing, but I do go through some droughts where I'm not even thinking about it. And then I find that the more kind of free time I have, that's when I want to write. If I'm busy, I'm like, oh, I got to get ready for this gig, or I got to do this side hustle to make some money, or I got to do whatever. My energy is depleted.
Yeah.
And I don't really want to think about, you know, a verse or maybe something for a new song. But I have been finishing a lot of songs. I write my songs kind of in fragments these days, where I'll put down a good idea, just record it on my phone or whatever, and then just kind of get back to it at some point. And if it strikes my fancy the second time I listen to it, I'll try to elaborate and see if I can put some words to it, or, you know, something like that.
That's pretty much exactly how I write these days as well. Mm-hmm. Just, yeah, you get like one verse and then, you know, you got to do something else. So you just kind of come back to it and see if you can figure out a chorus or.
Yeah. And then with a little perspective, you can figure out if it's any good too, or if you're going in a wrong direction, or if you're plagiarizing someone.
Yeah. Yeah. You're like, wait a minute, this melody is Blackbird or something.
Yep.
Yeah. When you write, are you writing for like projects, or are you just kind of writing to write? Do you have like a specific goal in mind when you're writing songs?
Well, sometimes yes, a lot of times no. So like, for example, you know, when me and the Shinebenders are going full tilt, I'm playing so many gigs that I'm like, you know, I need a song that kind of has a rhythm like, you know, like, or I need a song that has like just like a super solid like shuffle beat that people can dance to. So sometimes I will,
yeah,
and then I'll try to figure out like, well, what should the song be about? So I have written some tunes that way. I guess an example on my last album, Far, Far Away, an example would be Don't Blame Me, It's My Honky Tonk Heart. I was playing, you know, a lot of gigs, and it's like, I really need a song like, you know, it's kind of mid-tempo, and it's just like a really easy song to dance to that people are going to go nuts for.
Yeah.
So I just came up with it, and it fit the bill, and it did exactly that. I think people really liked it.
Yeah. Yeah. I had written about, I think 5 or 6 like country songs, and I've really wanted to do just like a full on country album, because I mostly do more Americana, kind of like all over the place stuff. And I really wanted something that was a little more, I guess, just like all similar style songs. And I sat down and finished, you know, 5 or 6 more country songs so that I could have a full country record. But in that process, I wrote probably, you know, 4 or 5 like folk songs. So, yeah, it's always like, I mean, you just got to write what you write, I guess, you know.
Yeah, I mean, if something's good coming out of you, you might as well just write it for like you say. You don't want to just throw it away. I mean, you could use it for something else or a different record, or you don't have to put it out like right now.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I've got some songs, that it took me like 5 years to write.
Yeah, you said it was something about a man in his age. It was the 10 verse song on the record.
Yeah.
Was that one of the ones that took 5 years to write, or is there another one on the record that took even longer?
No, I see. Well, back then I was writing a little quicker, and I think I was in a little bit more of a groove. And I had a lot of alone time. I really can, I can kind of rattle off a lot of songs if I'm like completely alone. Although that's, there has other bad consequences.
Yeah. Can also drink a lot more when you're alone.
It can get a lot of trouble.
Yeah.
But I think for a man in his age, I seem to remember kind of just like, oh, here's another verse, like I got a little more to say here, and I just kept rattling off. It was just one of those things. Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah. But that I totally understand that because 3 years ago, I think I wrote 40 songs in like 6 months, and in 2020, I wrote like 5 songs. So,
yeah, I mean,
it was harder in 2020 to have anything to talk about, though, for me.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, you don't want to do like cliched things. And I mean, it's always hard, and I don't want to push, like, especially with lyrics. I don't want to push myself to, try to just write something for the sake of writing it. I want to be inspired by something. So a lot of times I'll just kind of come up with a melody and just like sing gibberish while I'm playing guitar and just let it sit. And then, maybe, one day I'll just, I got an idea for that song, and then it'll just start flowing from there,
Yeah. I do similar things too, where I come up with the melody first, and then I'm looking for the right words, that kind of, I guess, flow in the way that you're kind of speaking the gibberish.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
exactly.
And then once you get that, you get that ball rolling, and then it's a little bit easier to kind of make things fit, I think, and kind of see where you're going with the story.
Yeah, it's that initial kind of, you get over the hump, and then it kind of unlocks the gates so that the ideas and the rhymes can just come flying in, and you can just put them down.
Yeah, I think one thing that I'm going to try to work through this year for my songwriting is I go kind of, you mentioned like cliche, or like just like those safe spaces where you kind of do the same thing that you've always done, and you're like, no, this sounds like 10 other songs I have. And I think my goal this year is to break out of that more, where because that really stops my songwriting process, because I'm like, no, I'm just playing G, C, and D again, and I'm finger picking the way I always finger pick, and kind of try to explore things that maybe I don't necessarily use as quite as often, and try some new things to hopefully stir up some new songs.
Yeah, for sure. Just going from tune to tune, trying to find something that you haven't done before, some different type of way of playing a chord, or maybe it's a rhythm that you haven't used before, or some subject matter that you have avoided. But yeah, it's all good if you can, break through those barriers.
So you've done a lot of touring in your life too, including you did some touring with Shooter Jennings and Shoot, there was someone else. Core Blund.
Yeah, I just some shows here and there, but not. I didn't really tour with the band or anything. With those bands or anything. Played some shows.
Oh, okay.
But, yeah, most of my touring is entirely, just shows that I set up and try to hit, some kind of nice arrangement of town to town thing over, a period of weeks or something.
Is that something that you miss?
Oh yeah, big time. The older I get, the more I want to tour. I don't know if anybody else is like that, but it's I just feel like I want to travel more and more.
Yeah. I would agree with that. There was definitely a period when I was real young. I was like in a rock band, and we burned ourselves out. So there was a 5 to 7 year period where I literally swore off touring, and then I something just bit me again and lit me up, and I was ready for the road after that 5 to 7 years.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't want to be burned out. It's all in good time. Should be, doing what you want to do. If you don't want to tour, don't tour.
Yeah.
Or play shows. I mean, especially in this time when you can't play shows. Unfortunately, this is the time I want to play shows.
Yeah. Yeah, and it probably. Have you done much solo touring, or have you mostly been with bands when you toured?
Yeah, no, I haven't really done any solo touring.
It's kind of more freeing because, like personally, I think part of the reason I burned out was like having to be with 3 other dudes in a van, and you're pissed at them, and because. They did something stupid or whatever, and you can't get away from them, and they want to do this one thing and you want to do this one thing or whatever. But, solo, you can afford like a Airbnb for yourself, or you can sleep in your van if you want to, and you can go and see the sites that you want to, and nobody's, bitching about not, going where you want to go. And, it's nice. It's pretty nice. And I feel like you make more money because it's just you. You're not sharing the money with other people. So
yeah, that's a good idea. I think I'd be into that.
Yeah. 2021 or 2022. Dan Whitaker takes on the world solo.
Yeah. I might just do that.
It's pretty great. And I don't know, there's something I'm sure, just because we have the similarities and like the lyrical content, but also like the, having a band that gets people to dance. Like there's something that feels like really rewarding too when people pay attention to your lyrics and they're not just there to dance.
Yeah. Yeah, I hear that. And I can tell that just from streaming, you can get people to listen to the lyrics a lot more. If you're solo, it's essential in the presentation of the music, I guess.
Right. Yeah. People are listening a lot more. Do you like have a favorite city that you like to play in or area?
Well, it's probably Austin.
Yeah.
All the gigs I've played in Texas have been a lot of fun. And it's nice and warm there. So I'm fond of that state. Although politically it's a little weird, but
yeah. Especially right now.
Yeah.
But they get it though, and they can sniff out the bullshit because they have like all the great Texas songwriters and country people, so they know when you're good and they can really sniff it out.
Yeah, such a great tradition of good uh, songwriters and bands and dance bands down there. People, you know, people. It's part of their lives. A lot. It seems a lot more so.
Yeah.
I mean, Chicago is a good place for music, but I don't think it's quite as like ingrained in the people, like in their DNA, as it is down there.
Yeah. Yeah. Especially in the country world, I imagine. I mean, I know you guys have like Bloodshot and you have some good, country music up there, but it's, Texas, it's like, yeah, you're bottle fed that.
Mm-hmm.
I find Kentucky is probably one of my favorite places to play, just the entire state, anywhere in Kentucky.
Okay. I haven't done too much touring in Kentucky, just a little bit. What's your favorite city to play there?
I want to say it's probably Newport, just because they have the I'm blanking on it right now. I just played an event to save their stage too. Oh my gosh,
the church place.
Yes. I'm totally blanking on it. But
I played there once.
Southgate House Revival. Yes, thank you. And that place, just the people, the kind of people that are there that are listening and they really care. That's just like it feels like a second home. It's really a great place. But Lexington's really awesome too.
Mm-hmm.
Louisville's awesome. Frankfurt's awesome. I mean, there's not really a bad place to play in Kentucky. They really love music and lyrics.
All right. Thanks for the tip. I'll make a point of it.
Yeah, it's great. Also, you probably know about Indianapolis. That's a little bit closer to y'all.
Yeah, I've been playing there. Duke's opened up a couple of years ago.
Duke's is awesome.
Yeah, so that place is cool.
And they have really good fried chicken.
Yeah. Oh man, I was supposed to play there in March.
Oh no.
And that one got canceled, obviously.
Damn. Yeah. Yeah, that was a great place, and people really come for the music there too.
Yeah, that was really encouraging because, I mean, well, historically, indie has not been great for country. It had some more rock stuff, but I was ecstatic when Duke's opened because, I don't think that city had seen a club like that before. And
really?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It was kind of a black hole there for a while, a lot of years.
Yeah, there was a couple of places. The Hi-Fi, isn't that's the one, or is it High Tone? High Tone's Memphis. Hi-Fi.
The Hi-Fi that's a little punk rock bar, right?
Yeah, it's kind of like a indie, rock, but they do a lot of folk and I guess more Americana than country, but so cool venue too. But yeah, I love indie. That kind of general area of like Ohio, Kentucky, Indiana is pretty good to me. It's a great place to find fans and venues.
Yeah, cool. Nice.
But so you got a new album right now that is out as of today. Well, by the time we put this up, it'll be a week, but and you are coming out with another record later in the year. What's the second one going to be called?
It's going to be called One More Story Told.
Okay.
And that's a title track from that album. And that was One of these songs where I was telling you about, it was originally a rock song. And so yeah, it's been kind of acousticized, although it still has. I played some steel guitar on it. It sounds pretty cool. It's got some
Nice.
brooding piano on it. I guess it's kind of, that one's kind of almost has kind of like a Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds type of sound.
Oh, cool. Did you do you do drums and bass and stuff on it as well?
Yeah, well, my bass player is playing on the whole album, but he's playing upright.
Okay.
And there's not a drum set on this album. It was kind of a thing, one thing that I wanted to not have on the album. So I asked my drummer that I usually play with, if he was interested, and he said, "Yeah." I'm like, "Well, okay, I want you to use, a little cajon, a little snare and hi-hat, a little shaker, a little tambo, just like all the little things, rather than having, the usual, where we get the drum kit sound and there's the big kick drum. And I just didn't want to have, like that normal experience of having to work around the drums. So I went in and I just recorded acoustic guitar for all the songs. And then we built it from that.
Yeah. I those are some of my favorite albums, to be honest, when it's just built around the acoustic guitar instead of built around the drums. I think something unique or built around something acoustic, it could be piano, whatever, but it just brings something unique out when it's more, when it's less like the rhythm based part and more the feel of the instrument. So I'm definitely excited to hear the new record.
Cool. Yeah. I'm excited to get it out there too. I think people will like it, and it'll sound good. And it's like the one I'm reissuing today. It is acoustic, but this version is well layered. It's not bare bones type of folk recording like Moving On With You is.
Well, thanks so much for being on the podcast. What is, before we go, what is the best way for people to check out your solo music and purchase your record?
Just go to danwhitaker.com. That has all my stuff from the bands I play with and my solo. So I just try to centralize everything since the pandemic, so it's not so confusing for people,
Yeah.
And you can buy CDs, or I have one vinyl available, one album on vinyl. You can link to any of my digital things. The Bandcamp, there's a Bandcamp link for Moving On With You. That is just a digital release at this point. And then you can sign up for the mail list. So yeah, just go to the website. That'll one-stop shop.
Awesome. Yeah. I'm definitely a big proponent of Bandcamp these days. It's a great way to get money directly to the artists that they deserve.
For sure. And I'm looking forward. I guess I have a streaming thing that they're starting up and kind of slowly rolling it out. So
on Bandcamp?
Yeah.
The kind of the Patreon thing?
Well, I mean, I know you can have paid
like a subscription. Yeah.
And then people can directly access your catalog because it's already all on there,
Yeah. I'm actually looking into that because I think that that's such a good idea, and I'm glad that they're doing that. So that's super cool. I'll check out yours too. And are you streaming from there anytime soon?
No, I'm waiting on them to get back to me about, I think they're doing like a slow rollout of who can actually stream.
Cool. Yeah. Well,
so yeah, this show that I'm doing on the 16th will be on YouTube.
And you can find that information at danwhitaker.com as well.
Yep.
Awesome. Well, Dan, thank you so much for stopping by the podcast. And I really look forward to the new record that you're about to put out. And I'm enjoying what I've heard so far of this record. Now that it's all out, I'll definitely go to Bandcamp and check out the whole thing.
Thanks, Will. And thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. Yeah. And hopefully I'll see you in Chicago when all this mess is over.
Yeah, or I will see you in Nashville at the Legion or something like that.
Yes, that would be great. Yeah, I will definitely come check you when you hit up the Legion.
Cool. Great to talk with you, Will.
You too. Have a good one. All right, that's it for this Americana Station episode. Thanks, Dan, for stopping by. Make sure that you rate and review our podcast on whatever platform you're listening to right now. That helps us out tremendously. Leave a comment and share with your friends. Tell more people about this podcast. The more people that know, the more all these artists get to be heard and their new records get to be heard. So let's support the community and just Americana in general, and rate and review, pass it along, tell your friends, and make sure you follow the Americana Highways Backroads playlist so you can hear all these guys each month. Until next time, I'm Will Payne Harrison in this Americana Station.
Now our turn is coming up across that bridge. There ain't no looking back then once we do. Time is ticking heavy and it never stops. I can't think of a better thing to do. Baby, now I'm moving on with you. Moving on with you. Moving on with you. Baby, moving on with you.